not negotiate with my children. If you want to do something fun, which we are planning on doing tonight, going to a demolition derby, if you want to go, you better chop, get things done. So I laid down the law, and that's what they're doing, is getting things done. So if that's what it takes, that's what it takes.
I do have banter about that one, but I'm not going to go there. Anyway.
Whatever.
Welcome back, Richard. It's been, 2-3 months?
Yeah, it's been crazy. It went on 3 different cruises, 2 different vacations, taking care of moms, wrote a best-selling book. So it's just been crazy and stupid. So now I'm finally settling back down again.
Nothing stupid, brother. Nothing stupid. Anyway, so tonight we are going to be discussing on how we can expand our consciousness and begin to reprogram our subconscious mind. So I think we should kick off with Alicia. Welcome to this madhouse, shall I say? Hosted by Ashley, of course.
Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. So, tell us a little bit about you and how you help people.
So I'm a mind-body mentor, which means I help people heal by using mind-body medicine, which is all about expanding your consciousness and getting to the root cause of your illness. It's essentially saying your mind and body are connected, so your thoughts and emotions are affecting your health, and there's an emotional underlying cause for everything that's showing up in your life, whether it's an acute illness, chronic illness, or even if it's not an illness. Our consciousness is creating our whole reality. It's just like a mirror reflection to show us what we're carrying. That's what I do. And I'm also a theta healer. Theta healing is all about getting into a theta brainwave state by connecting with creator consciousness. So it's super easy to reprogram your subconscious mind. The client doesn't have to know how to get into a theta brainwave state. Like, even if there's someone that when they've tried to be hypnotized before, like they haven't been able to relax, which has been me, and hypnosis has never worked on me. Theta healing, the client doesn't even need to know how to do that. It's just the practitioner that needs to know how to connect with creator consciousness. And then when you're in that theta brainwave state, you can easily reprogram your subconscious mind in like seconds or minutes. So that's how I help people heal, using those 2 modalities, because mind-body medicine is all about clearing the energy or the emotions, and then you no longer have the thoughts that go along with it. So like if you're carrying shame, for example, you're going to have like judgmental thoughts about yourself and other people. You're really hard on yourself. Theta healing is all about getting to the bottom belief, they call it, like the root belief on where this started. And then when you no longer have that belief, you don't have those emotions anymore. You don't feel shame anymore. So that's why I like to put the 2 of them together, because they're both very powerful. Yeah.
Please do me a favor. Please hypnotize Ashley. I'm joking.
If you haven't noticed already, Alicia, this is an ongoing weekly thing of us back and forth. And
yeah.
Really.
She loves me, really. but yeah, wow. Does hypnotize... Go on, get your words out, Adam. Come on. I know you don't drink coffee, but does hypnotism actually work?
So I don't hypnotize people, so I'm not going to speak to it. But yeah, I know, like, if you can get someone in a relaxed enough state, an alpha brainwave state or a theta brainwave state, that is the state you need to be in to reprogram your subconscious mind. Like, if you do it in a beta brainwave state, like, it's not going to work. So you could say affirmations all day long in a beta brainwave state, but it's not really sinking in. But I just find hypnosis to be very slow. So that's why I don't do it. I'm only ever looking for the fastest, most powerful ways to heal. And theta healing is a way to get into a theta brainwave state without having to do hypnosis. So that's why I like it.
Any feedback, everyone?
How did you discover this? I've only ever heard of hypnosis. I've never heard of.
Yeah, so my mentor told me about it. There's a book that's called Theta Healing by Vianna Stibel. She actually has a bunch of books, but that's like the first book you'd want to read if you want to get into this. She had cancer in her leg many, many years ago, and she healed it. And people asked, like, how did you do that? She's like, I just asked God. And they're like, well, we pray to God all the time and we don't get anything. So what is it about how you did it? And that's when she got this like whole download, which is the technique of theta healing, which is a way to connect with the seventh plane of existence, as they call it. You can call it creator consciousness, you can call it God, you can call it source energy. It's like wherever you believe everything is created from, like that initial source where everything is created from, is what we're connecting with. And when you connect with it, you automatically go into a theta brainwave state. It just happens. So yeah, I found it through my mentor, and I've been learning about it for the past 2 years. I've taken like so many courses about it because to me, I just want to know the fastest way to heal. Like I'm not in, because I had severe depression for like 5 years and tried everything to heal and nothing was working for me. So like I'm just not interested in struggling forever. And when I'm helping my clients, I don't want them to struggle for as long as I did. So I'm just always open to learning something, even if something is faster than what I'm doing. I'm willing to learn that, and I'm willing to be wrong and be like, I've learned something even more powerful than this. And so I was doing mind body medicine for years and recently started learning about theta healing and realizing it's like even faster than mind body medicine. And so I'm willing to switch up the way that I do things.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've literally just Googled it myself because
Oh, okay.
I've never heard of it. I've literally, because I've never heard of this myself. It
Yeah.
says hypnotherapy for pregnancy and childbirth, also known as hypnobirthing, can help reduce stress and anxiety and prepare the mother for more comfortable birth.
Yeah, I don't do hypnosis, but if you Google theta
Oh, no.
healing, you would have a better idea of what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
What is it? Like, what does it look like? If you
Yeah,
can just
so-
describe like a session with a client.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I'm the practitioner, I need to get into the seventh plane of existence. So there's like a certain meditation that you do. You essentially bring Mother Earth energy up through your feet and then through all of your energy centers. And then you imagine there's this ball of light above the top of your head and you're inside of it. And then that light is going up through all the layers of the universe, all the seventh planes of existence, which I could tell you what they are after if you want to know. And it's just like a little meditation to get in. It takes 30 seconds really to get into the seventh plane of existence, which is creator consciousness, where everything is created from. And then the practitioner is automatically in a theta brainwave state. And then they ask for your permission as the client, can I connect with you in the seventh plane? And if they say yes, and then the practitioner connects with you in the seventh plane, now the client is in a theta brainwave state. And now I can reprogram their subconscious mind. And theta healing, you're literally asking the creator on everything that needs to be done. And that's why I like it. It's not, I'm guessing what you need and where this came from and where this started for you. I'm asking the creator, why does this person have this illness? Where did it started? What's the bottom belief that needs to be pulled? And what does it need to be replaced with? Because they need new programming. If we just take away all this programming, well, what's the new programming that they're living their life on? So the creator will tell you what programs to download into their subconscious mind. And there's usually like a definition. And there's also like, I know how to live my daily life, fill in the blank. I know what it feels like to fill in the blank. Like everything is covered. So it's not just like, oh, I love myself unconditionally. It's like, you know what the definition of love is, you know what it actually feels like, and you know how to live your daily life, loving yourself unconditionally, for example. Yeah, so that's kind of what it looks like, is you just keep asking the creator what's next, what needs to be done, and then you pull those beliefs and you replace them. Yeah, it's pretty simple, but you have to be intuitive to be able to do it. So if you have your intuition shut down, you're not going to get any awareness from the creator. So you have to like clear your intuition blocks.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. Now, I know I think all of us experience some sort of depression in our lives, but, and this is to everyone, what does, when it comes to the conscious, because I know we all have these intrusive thoughts that basically isolate us from reality, and because we're thinking we're useless, we're not loved, we're better off dead, whatever intrusive thought that comes. So what actually comes in our mindset? Because I know we've all got all different experiences when it comes to this. So yeah, what does rock bottom look like to each and every one of you?
I find it fascinating what Alicia said, because I think we've heard, we only use like 10% of our brain, and that's like, I think, as I understand, that's like our conscious thoughts, and then there's 9% of untapped brain power there, which I think could represent the unconscious part, which we're not using actively. And I think when you're in deep sleep and you're in a REM sleep, when you're in that deep level of sleep, you're, again, as I understand it, you're going into such deep level of sleep that you're using the other part of your brain, because your mind's trying to work through your challenges and trying to work through things. It goes into much deeper level. But I find it fascinating what you said about meditation, because I think I know that people who meditate, really seriously, if you look at Buddhist monks who meditate all day, and their one aim is to try and get such a state of oneness with everything that they're at one with their consciousness and all consciousness. And then to them, when they do that, that's nirvana, they're one level. So I find it fascinating what you said. And I think the whole thing of how we can tap into that deeper level of consciousness to empower ourselves to have more
Okay.
overcome challenges.
All right. So I'll ask them. So I'll ask a different one. What's the difference? Because I know we've all got a different experience. So what is the difference between going to sleep when we're really like wound up, pissed off with whatever's happened throughout that day, or an argument, compared to going to sleep calm and relaxed, even after meditation? Like, what goes through our subconscious minds, or even our consciousness?
I would like to say, for me, struggling with PTSD, traumatic brain injury, I used to be angry a lot before I went to bed. But now I teach my clients that before they go to bed, pick 3 things from their day that went well. Whether, even if you just got up, if you were able to see, like I lost 80% of my vision, even if you're able to see your children, if you're breathing, pick 3 things that happened during your day that was great. Like tonight, this is going to be one of my top ones of being on this show today. Mm-hmm. And then if you go to bed with gratitude, because I've been taught by some of my mentors that gratitude and anger cannot occupy the same space. So if you go to bed with gratitude, and then when I wake up in the morning, if I can see something out of my eyes, I say, Lord, thank you. I'm so grateful that I woke up today. And whatever happens today, good or bad, I'm going to be grateful. So before my feet hit the floor, I'm already in gratitude. So I believe that gratitude and anger cannot occupy the same space. And for me, if me and my wife get in an argument, it doesn't matter. Like every night before I go to bed, I wrap my arms around my wife. I pray for her, and I pray for her happiness, and that she knows that I love her, whether we're pissed off at each other or not, because it's hard to be mad at somebody you're praying for. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah. That's really beautiful. And honestly, I found that when you expand the lightness that you are already experiencing, you can't have more of something you don't have. So you have to expand, and what you focus on expands. Yep. And that's something that helped me heal so much faster is I actually brought awareness to I actually am feeling lighter today than I did last week. I was noticing that there were shifts, and I was feeling what felt like more joy when I had depression. And because I was bringing awareness to it instead of diminishing it, okay, I feel a little bit better, but I still have suicidal thoughts sometimes. I wasn't doing that. I was bringing awareness to the lightness and expanding it. And I think that's why I healed so quickly. But also I didn't put ice cream on top of poop either. I had to allow myself to feel the hopelessness and despair and the shame and the fear, and not just be oh, I feel so great when I didn't feel great. It's only when I did feel lighter, I brought awareness to it and blew it up. And when I was feeling heaviness, I brought awareness to that. I brought awareness to whatever I was experiencing. I didn't suppress what I was feeling or make it wrong or try to change it. It was just a part of me that needed compassion. So I like what Richard is saying. Also,
Richard, what do you
Richard,
think, Stephen?
I'm really enjoying what I'm hearing. I never was aware of the theta um, theme, but for me, I think that the most important thing is my relationship with God, and that God is the answer. And I did hear that. He gives me, in me, through me, and as me. He provides the words that I speak, my relationship with others. And if I'm following his words, then things work much better for me. When I'm trying to run my own show, think I know it all, it doesn't work as well. Um, so, with respect to thinking, what I've been trying to do is learn more about the practices of NLP, the neuro linguistic programming, and that was referred to here. I think that that's really important. God gave everybody the ability to be able to learn and to grow, and when your mind is open and you're willing to at least listen to somebody, whether you agree with them or not, that is a benchmark to start from, and going from there you can learn more with the NLP. You can learn the practices that will make you successful, because it's all about subconscious thinking when things happen that would make you, flight or fright. Um, so that's what I've been trying to do. Learn more about NLP. At some point, I'll be certified and be able to help others with that. In the meantime, I just kind of talk, and I recognize I've been doing it for years. Um, and it's all along the same lines, but I want to learn the actual practical application of it, which will help me align my thinking, because you can think something, and until you do something about that thought, it's just a thought. And then you can get excited about stuff, and that's all great and fine, but sooner or later that'll wear off. And that's why you didn't, well, you might not have taken it to that deeper level and reprogram your subconscious thinking, which is your beliefs and your values. So that's what I'm feeling.
Yeah. What about you, Jilly?
So I'm not an expert in this by any means, but so the last episode I did was about neurodiversity, and I have
Yes.
ADHD, and this was an area, was a specific area of interest that I had. So I've like done research on consciousness and near-death experiences, and in graduate school written papers about it. And so now I just did like a refresher, but I really was into it. I mean, I did a lot of reading just for fun. And the reason I think I'm so interested in this topic is because, like a lot of people, I lost someone I really care about, my mom. And so I'm just interested in what happens after we die. And consciousness has a lot to do with that, because, the question is there consciousness that's outside of the brain? And if there is, what does that look like? And I think this is a topic that when I read about it, when I think about it, it makes me very anxious. And I think it's because this really is so deep and so complex. And as humans, it's hard for us to tap into that, or to really wrap our brains around it. And I mean, today, Sam Parnia is like a big researcher in this area, and he ran a study called the AWARE study. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. But it's a really cool study where you have, I was obsessed with it, obsessed. I followed it like over years, but the AWARE 2 study in 2023 was published, and I think that was kind of like the end of it. I don't know if they're still collecting data, but they basically planted like stimuli in hospital rooms, so that way people who were undergoing like cardiac arrest could report back on whether they saw or heard any of the stimuli. And then he also like conducted interviews with the survivors to see if, what their experience was after they died or lost consciousness. And so basically the reason this research was brought about is because there are a lot of stories of people who report across cultures the same phenomena. for near-death experiences. Like when we die, a lot of people will describe seeing a light, a tunnel, feeling the presence of a being, seeing relatives. There are all these like different sub-themes that are described. And so expectedly, you know, this research lab is getting a lot of backlash from the scientific community because, like I said before, we want to, you know, we like concrete and, you know, we like simple and science, you know, just very easy measurable science. And this is not that. And that's why I think we're all looking at Alicia like she has 3 heads in a nice way, because we're like, what the hell is this, you know? But that's because it's difficult to understand. But I think we need to go into it with an open curiosity. And there's a reason it's so complicated, you know, to understand. But anyway, like I read the book, Many Lives, Many Masters, when I was much younger. The other book I loved was Eben Alexander's Life After Death.
Yep.
And so, and he's a neurologist, I think, or a neuroscientist, something like that. He's a neurologist. But he basically had a near-death experience himself. And he was very much part of, like, on the side of there is no life after death. And then he had a near-death experience and he completely changed his mindset. And he wrote this book. And so anyway, yeah, I think it's like we've got this basic level of consciousness, and there are these deeper levels of consciousness that are really hard to tap into. But overall, the main message that is sent by people who have these experiences is that we're all here for a purpose. So it's about figuring out what is your purpose, and that, you know, we're all interconnected in some way. So I know that sounds super hippy dippy, but a lot of people have like a life review where they, well, you know, when they're dying or when they're dead, that's a question, they remember all of these interactions that they had with other people, and they even felt the experiences from other people's points of view. So if you were in the military, then you felt the pain of not only the person who you hurt, but also their family members, which just shows like how consciousness is so broad, and how it, you know, it really is kind of, it's interconnected. And I think that's a message that's very powerful, that I think a lot of people may not understand, but it would improve, I think, a lot of people's behavior and a lot of people's mental health if they, I think, consider that in their actions.
Nick?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I think is, I think we humans, we're very good at, but not, you know, we're very bad at getting over things. We tend to sort of think by our human nature is to dwell on things and overthink things, and you know, I think we love doing that, you know, and we're not very good at moving on, you know, and obviously the bigger the challenge or the trauma, obviously the harder it is to move on, understandably. But what we tend to do, I think, is if we deal with it on a conscious level, we suppress it to a subconscious level, and maybe we think we've dealt with it, but what we find is obviously it's not dealt with, and it resurfaces. And often the only way to really deal with things is whether it's hypnotherapy or at least your approach, you know, is to go at a deeper level and really resolve it, you know, at a deeper level. I think, yeah, I certainly know that from my own experience, and I think for me, that's what I think, you know, that is something there, you know, there about sort of not about how we our natural predisposition to suppressing things, and I think we just suppress a deeper level. I think our subconscious, the way it deals with things is just in a different way to conscious, but it doesn't go away if we push it down to the subconscious level. So I think I think we as humans, we need to try and perhaps find a way of resolving our trying to resolve things on a conscious level, and if not, how can we use approaches to get to a deeper level, like some approach you mentioned, Lisa, because I think we often, like I say, suppress it and think we've dealt with it, and it's just manifesting perhaps on a deeper level. So, and I know that, I know from my experience, so that's what I tend to do. So,
Yeah, because obviously I had that experience today because I was just sat eating my tea and I didn't finish it because I literally just went blank, and Kerry noticed it as well, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not. What's going on? Do you want to talk?" I'm like, "I wish I knew what to say," and she tried getting me to say what was on my mind. I'm like, "I don't know. I actually do not know what's on my mind." So what I did is I just went upstairs, meditated for about 15 minutes, and then after that, I just wrote everything on this list. So I'm like, okay, so that's on my mind. So it just comes to you through meditation, and obviously that works for me.
that's interesting. So by meditating, you became more aware of what those issues were. That
Yeah, I did that tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ashley.
I think going back to like what Richard said, going to bed with gratitude. Now, I'm not perfect at that, but you just notice when you do have like an off day or you have that heaviness and you go to bed angry or whatever it is, your sleep is very altered. It's not very even keel. You might be in REM less or in that theta state less because you can't, it's just swirling in your brain. Versus when you go to bed, you say have brain dumped or you journaled or you prayed and you did all of those types of things, your brain is empty or emptier and it can focus on the positive and you sleep differently. I noticed that very much just recently. My husband and I got into an argument and he went to bed and then I came to bed later and I slept terrible because it was just all of these thoughts swirling through my brain. And then I'm thinking, are you going to like acknowledge what's going on? And, all of the things. And he's sleeping away. So, and as women as well, because we have so much connection and wiring to emotions, it makes it a little bit harder for us to sometimes get into that quiet space because everything is firing. And then we're thinking, okay, I've got to get this. I've got to get this. I got to do this. And like everything is swirling versus men think in more like box systems. And one box comes out, the other, and the boxes, I've read the book, men are like waffles, women are like spaghetti. So it's very box thinking, and we are the pile of spaghetti. So for me to get into that state of, okay, I just want to like do some either meditation or deep breathing and just kind of quiet myself, all of a sudden then I hear a noise and then I hear the kids and then I hear this and so it does not go well for me, which is another reason why I don't get into affirmations really very much either, because I can't quiet my mind enough to let those truly soak in because it is going so much. So I am very much a journaler, either gratitude journaling or prayer journaling or whatever that looks like. I have to write things out on paper to empty this. So.
And does it work?
Does what work? As far as journaling? Yeah.
Okay.
I think the analogy that Alicia gave before was very good, and I'm definitely going to steal that. Like the ice cream on the poop. That's awesome. Yeah. But that I definitely agree with that, and that's how I feel also from like the reading that I've done, like on consciousness, and I think it's more about awareness and compassion, and just noticing. Right? Yeah. Like that, it's about getting to a point where you're just okay, whatever is, right? And then while you're awake and kicking, you should, be doing things that are good for society, like, altruistic, in addition to living your life, because your purpose probably has something to do with giving to or helping other people grow with you.
Yeah, when you're in pure awareness, you're not in resistance. So then your body can work as it's designed. That's why there's so much power in awareness instead of resistance or forcing yourself to be positive when you actually feel like shit. Like that's just another form of resistance, really. That's not giving yourself compassion. And what I find with sleep too is a lot of the times why people have trouble sleeping is because they're not bringing awareness and presence to what they're feeling all day. So then when they go to slow down at night, now you feel everything because you're starting to not resist. You're not busy doing other stuff. So you're not resisting as much. And now you feel everything you're feeling right before you're about to go to bed. And then you have trouble sleeping. So it's not even just about the practice you do right before bed. It's how do you live your day? How present are you throughout the day? It's so important.
See, that's interesting, Alicia, because a lot of us mask during the day, and obviously I've got a daughter that goes to school, unfortunately, and she masks a lot. Even our eldest, he masks a lot. So a good 6 hours a day he's masking. But then when they come home, they're full of rage, they're full of anger, and then it's like when obviously at night time, their bedtime's at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
But it's like 11, 12 o'clock before she actually falls asleep.
Yeah.
So it just shows.
Yeah, and they're reflections of you. So I see it all the time when the parent just heals what's in them, the child heals. The child never has to do any sort of healing work at all because they're not separate from you. So they're just mirroring something to you, like maybe you also kind of suppress what you're feeling and mask what you're feeling and things like that. But yeah, you have the power to heal this for them.
Yep.
Ooh.
So
Adam's like, oh.
Not had that before. Not had that.
So Adam, when you say your kids are masking, just do you mean they're basically hiding their true feelings? They're
Yes. I think Jilly can obviously say it as well, but with being a neurodivergent or even neurotypical, they mask the true identity, and they pretend to be someone they're not.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, men do it as well. Men masks all the time, but I know when it comes. Come on, Richard.
We all do it, but again, like one of the young ladies was saying that, and excuse my language, but self-awareness is a motherfucker. Because once you become self-aware, then you don't have an excuse. So for me, and you guys see my social media pages, you see my business. I don't hide anything. I don't mask anything anymore. If I have a thought, it's coming out, and I go to bed just friggin' fine now. And I think that, but it all comes to self-awareness and being present. Like, and I think for me, when I teach my clients, your family appreciates your presence more than your presence.
Yeah.
Put the fucking phone down.
Mm-hmm.
Spending time with, like, when my wife, even if she has something to say during the week, I put my phone down, I take my reading glasses off, and I look in her eyes, and I make her feel like she's being heard. And I think a lot of our families don't feel like they're being heard, but we won't know that unless we start being self-aware of what we're doing at every moment during the day.
Absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I actually want to bring up about how we bounce back, how we come back. So I'm going to nick your nickname for a little bit, Richard. so
I wanted to interrupt quick here, if I could. I have to run. I'm
Okay.
really enjoying this information, and I hope that people are getting something out of this. And I think that what I had to do was this: let go of the mask. That this I'm somebody. I am God's child. That's what I am. And as God's child, I have a job, and that is to serve the community, and that's what I'm here for. And if I can help anybody, let me know. I appreciate being invited on and the information. Thank you very much. I want to wish you all well. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, Stephen. Thanks.
Question.
Yeah. So what I want to say is, then it was 6, by the way. For people that know me, know that I go to AA weekly, and I can admit right now, my partner, she's not always been supportive of that. Not always, but I think now for them to understand what an alcoholic goes through, they need to get involved with this. And that's why she's now started reading the Alcohol Anonymous book, which I think is fucking fantastic. Because that's what it does. It gets them involved because it's not just our journeys, the family's journey, and we're all involved in this. So that's what I want to ask is, and I'm going to ask each and every one of you, when did it come to the point when you were feeling shit and you thought, you know what, I'm sick of this life, I'm sick of feeling like this, I want to do something with my life, I want to come back, I want to bounce back. So yeah, if that makes sense.
Well, for me, there was 3 points in my life. One is when I almost went to jail for 5 years for grand larceny. 9/11 changed my life. And then the 2 suicide attempts I had, and the most recent one was about 12 weeks ago. And for me, it's you get sick and tired of being sick and tired. And no matter what we do, like we talk about masks, we all look great here, but we're all going through our shit. And sometimes coaches don't have coaches. And for me, that's when I realized, wait a minute, I'm helping all these people, but I don't have somebody that in my corner. Now, to your point, I've been sober going on 36 years. And when I got sober, my sponsor told me, it's not everybody else's around you, their problem. And some of them are not going to like that you're going to get sober, because a lot of times you're going to start seeing shit that they're doing, and you're going to start calling them out on their shit. Like when I first got sober, I went to dinner for Thanksgiving, and I had about a year, I think, and people started talking shit at me. So I went around the table, and I'm like, you're addicted to this, you're addicted to this, your husband's cheating on you, blah, blah, blah. And I called out all their bullshit. So sometimes the person in your own house will not always be your biggest fan. And because my wife can have a drink, my wife can have wine, whatever. I got shit ton of liquor in my house. I just don't drink, but it's not her problem. It's great that she knows that she's been to NA meetings, she's gone to speaker meetings and all that, but it's not her problem. I'm the one that's allergic. That's like me being allergic to peanuts and telling you not to eat a peanut butter sandwich. It's not their problem. So I think for people that are getting sober, that's one of the reasons why they go back out, is because they're worrying about what everybody else is thinking. So and I think it's great that your partner is actually getting involved with it. But so like I said, sometimes they don't, after a while, they don't want to see you getting healthy, because you start moving on or moving past them, and they're still in the same spot.
Yeah. Ashley.
First, I want to say, I bet you that was a freaking interesting Thanksgiving.
It was never forgotten.
Oh, I can't imagine that it was. I think for me, when I really hit my lowest points was after I was sick. And that was 6 years ago. And having to deal with setting the expectation that was higher than what I knew other people could meet that were around me. Expecting them to understand what I had gone through, and they needed to change, but I didn't need to, kind of a thought process. And I think ultimately I really just forgot who I was. Again, being burned out, hospitalized, severe infection, dealing with the recovery of all of that. My marriage was on the rocks. It was just everything pressing down, and I didn't know how, in a healthy way, to necessarily cope with it or understand where my value came from. And ultimately, I had a pastor friend that told me, Ashley, why are you still married? And I was like, well, I love him. He's like, but that's not a reason. Why are you still married? And I couldn't answer the question. And he was like, your value does not come from your husband or anybody else around you. Your value is from God, and you need to remember that. And from that point forward, it was like a switch just flipped. But then in that time, I had also started working with a direct sales company. So I had surrounded myself with positivity and encouragement and personal development, and found where I refocused myself into something for me that was taking care of me regarding my self-care. It was, again, it was developing who I am and things that I enjoy doing, versus, okay, I've got to clean, I've got to cook, I've got to change a diaper, I've got to do all the mom duties because I'm here at home. That's my place. And in that place, that's where I'm this big, versus knowing where my value comes from and what I have to offer and all of the things that I have to share is valuable and worthy of being heard. That elevates who I am as a leader, as a wife, as a mother, as an entrepreneur, all of those things. So it's really just, sometimes you have to hit those lows to be able to come back and really realize, where is it that I want to go? What is it that I want to do? So.
Julie?
Sorry, I had it muted because my kids are
That's
home.
It's the kids.
Yeah, I'm still like, I don't know, affected by what Richard said before. Yeah, so I don't know, in terms of like, what's the question again? I wanted to build off of what he said because it just, I still feel it.
Basically, when you're down in the dumps, rock bottom, feel like giving up and all that, when did you come to realization that you think, I don't want to do this anymore? I want to bounce back. I want to do something with my life.
Oh, yeah. One moment, there wasn't one. Yeah. There wasn't one, like one moment. But if I can think of an example, I have a few examples. I guess since I mentioned the interest in consciousness and out-of-body experiences, near-death experiences, and things like that. For my honeymoon, I went on a trip to Greece with my husband, and that's when I was really, really interested in this stuff. And when I was doing most of my reading about it, and so I just felt like really connected to spirituality. I don't even know to what, but it's a different kind of feeling. And while I was in Greece, I I wrote about this actually in one of my articles. I saw a woman, like a homeless woman, walking by and talking to herself. And my husband said to me, like, oh, watch out, don't get too close to her. And other people were kind of looking at her the same way. And that was, the first time that I really looked at someone who clearly had schizophrenia, and felt differently about them, because since I had kind of started bearing myself into these books about this topic, about consciousness and, just life outside of being alive, I started to have like nighttime hallucinations, and only in Greece. It was very bizarre. It had never happened to me before, but I would wake up in the middle of the night and they were visual hallucinations. So I couldn't hear anything, but they were real. Like I would shake my head, open and close my eyes. I could move. So it wasn't like I was, like this feeling of being paralyzed. And it was very, very terrifying. And I had them a bunch of times. So by the last time that I had one, I was kind of like, oh, this again. And I just kind of lied there, with open curiosity and just watched it happen. But anyway, so this woman, while I was watching her, I really I hurt for her, because she's walking around, and talking to herself, and people are looking at her like she's crazy. But what she's seeing and what she's experiencing is real. And it's very disorienting. But yeah, I think that's one of those moments that really shook me. And then I left, and I have not had an experience like that. But also, I haven't really been reading about this stuff, so I'm sure it has something to do with it. But yeah, so that's an example.
We lost Adam.
Vanished.
He disappeared into the pool.
Vanished. Like that trace. Or if I could
Actually-
share. Oh,
Oh no, go ahead.
well, I could share mine. So so I the challenging part of my life. I was in a sort of a career job, and I was made redundant and struggled at work, and a lot of the stress and things, and I ended up splitting up my wife, and then COVID came along, ended up being homeless. So I was and then I was not seeing my young son, who was 3 at the time. And then eventually I moved in with some family down the south coast of England. But her 13-year-old son, who had Prader-Willis syndrome, killed himself off a cliffs. And my stepsister had a nervous breakdown. And all these things, one after the other, were happening. And I was losing everything in my life one by one. And I was guessing, so that was definitely my pivotal moment where, my brain was going to explode. It was, increasingly voices saying, well, you've lost that, you're failing at that. And I was, everything that's important to me, I was losing. And then I was asked to leave that house, and I thought, well, I'm back being homeless again, no work, my family, my kid. And I think, obviously you lose your confidence, you lose your identity, everything that, is important part of who you are, all these things that give you purpose and in life, I'd lost to those, so I didn't have a purpose. I was, and I think it was, that overwhelm of constant bombardment, I felt like the head's going to explode every day and every night. So that was my bit of a moment. I mean, I think what I did or knew I had to do was basically to try and have an awareness. Well, actually, I had to accept it. I've said, okay, all the stuff's happened, and and try and sort of clear it all out and accept everything that's happened and my situation, and a massive acceptance, so I could start fresh in my mind, and build it up step by step, from the beginning. But it's you can build up the practical things. You know, you can get back on your feet, but I think the mental, you know, the knocks mentally are the harder thing to build up. You know, you can. So for me, that was the biggest struggle. You know, when I got back on my feet, practical way, but get my confidence back and my identity back after those couple of years, but was the hardest thing. But yeah, that's definitely a big learning curve for me. So yeah, that's my story.
Mm-hmm.
Bathroom break. You okay, buddy? You all right?
Yeah. Just obviously someone's at door, and then Kerry struggling with wired. So yeah, it's all happening. It's all happening tonight. I think the toddler years have come early. Yeah. Sorry, I missed your speech, Nick.
No worries. No, I think you've heard it before.
I can go back and rewatch it. Alicia.
Yeah. So there was a point where I had like completely given up. Like I had severe depression and suicidal thoughts for like 4 or 5 years, and I was trying everything, spending thousands of dollars every month, trying everything. I would even like Google how to heal from depression, and I would go to the second and third pages of Google, and I would try everything, and nothing was working. And I had realized I wasn't going to take my life either for like certain reasons. Like I had explored that, almost done that, realized I was afraid of pain. And also I didn't know exactly what happens after you die. I'm like, am I guaranteed to feel more peace after this? So there was a lot of reasons I didn't do it. And so then at that point, I literally didn't know what else to do. I was like, I think I just have to manage my way through life. Like, because I'm not going to kill myself and nothing works. So I had like taken this job in the field as a construction engineer. You work 12 to 16 hours a day because I just wanted to be busy and distracted 24/7. And when you're living in a camp with people, you're never alone other than when you like go to bed at night. You know, you work together, you eat together, you do everything together. So I had completely given up at this point. I was like, I'm done trying. I wouldn't try anything else. Nothing works anyways. But there was like a level of surrender that actually happened when I, quote, gave up, that I stopped trying to fix myself and stopped making it wrong that I was having this experience. And that level of surrender and non-resistance just changed everything for me. That's when I found my mentor synchronistically. And then when I heard her speak, something like lit up inside me, like, you have to work with her. When I had sworn I would not spend another penny on anything else because I was done and nothing works. But something in me was like, you're working with her. And then I did her online program, and then I healed from depression just by doing her online program. Didn't even have to work with her yet. And so I never had to force myself to like start doing something with my life. I actually just surrendered, and then I was guided because this is my sole purpose and this is my divine timing. And so from there, it just became natural. Like, she had me on her podcast and asked me to share my story. And then her community started asking to work with me. And then my whole career changed from being an engineer to doing what I'm doing now. And so I never had to be like, force myself or technically like hit rock bottom and then be like, oh, I need to do something with my life. It was just when I stopped resisting and trying and controlling and thinking I knew better, and I just surrendered, I was being guided. And then it just all like happened for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously with me, I were pretty much similar to Richard. When I was feeling shit, it actually took me to try and end my life in 2019 to actually think, I can't die. I can't. And it took one day where, after the 3 weeks of me living in my bedroom, because I was petrified just to even come top of the steps, I was petrified. I literally just sat on the settee playing on my phone, looked at my kids who looked absolutely miserable and bored. I'm thinking, what the fuck are you doing, Adam? Do something with them. Be a parent. Stop neglecting them. So that's what I did. I just thought, you know what? Just bounce back. And as thoughts come since, yes, but I'm here. Caffeine free and alcohol free. So yeah, all systems go.
I suppose it goes back to like no one being proud of what you've achieved, and everyone's achieved perhaps more than we all realise, and being grateful for what we've achieved and what we've got, but also about why. Why the why is what drives us and keeps us going, inspires and motivates us. And similar to Adam, I got my 8-year-old child now. When I was at my lowest point and I was ready to give up, I was so depressed. I felt like I was fighting to something worse. But it was my 3-year-old son at the time that kept me going, and that and like having that that strong why. I knew that whatever life threw at me, I had to get through because of him. So I guess it's having that strong why to get going.
Absolutely.
How we got.
Absolutely, that's what it's all about. And Noah's a good kid anyway, by the way. He's a good kid.
You met him.
I met him, yeah. All right. Okay. So, yeah. Any final words before we wrap up?
I would like to say something, and I mentioned it on every day on my podcast. If we have 1,350 episodes, and the thing I end with every time is, today I decide whether to be a victim of my past or a victor of your present and your future. So every morning, you guys, anybody that's watching, any day that you wake up, it's your choice to be the victim or to be the victor. So just make the right choice.
Absolutely. Yeah. Jilly?
Yes, in that vein, are you going to be the hunter or the hunted?
No. Absolutely. Alicia?
I would say the most important thing anyone can do in their life to change their life is have more awareness of exactly what you're experiencing. Like, there's no threat to bringing more awareness to what you're already carrying. In fact, the threat is resisting it, because then it will stay in place. So if you can have compassion, like, I know we don't want to bring awareness to our pain. Obviously, I was there. I didn't want to feel what I was feeling. But if you think of it like I'm having compassion for the part of me who's having this experience and who is struggling and is just in so much pain that no one would ever know actually how much I'm feeling in here. That is love, and love is what heals. Love is 500 on the human scale of consciousness. That's where instantaneous healing can happen. That's what your body actually needs. So the most important thing you can do is have compassion for yourself and more awareness. That's what I wanted to share. I actually also wanted to share with Richard, I had issues with my eyesight as well. Like, I literally couldn't see in the left side of both of my eyes, and doctors told me I'd never be able to heal that. And then I had one theta healing session and it was gone, because it was like things I wasn't willing to see and things like that. And so I just wanted you to know, if I had something and someone knew of a resource available for me, I just would want someone to share it with me, and you can see if that resonates with you, because it's 100% available for you.
Absolutely. There you go. There you go. So obviously, I'll connect you both if you want after this. Yeah. Ashley.
Final thoughts. I think, like Alicia said, having that awareness, but also being open. Be open to what's available to you, because if you are going down the path of traditional and Western medicine and it's not giving you the results that you're looking for, if there's something that you are struggling with, whether it be depression, PTSD, whatever it is, seek alternative methods. Yes. Because if you're closed off to it, then yes, absolutely, it's not going to work. But if you become open to see other people's stories and what's out there and what's available that could help you, isn't it worth it? Isn't it worth it? And realizing that you're worth it to feel better as a human, as a person that has something to contribute to society, then it can be a game changer if you're open and willing.
Absolutely. And Nick?
I guess I think one of the most empowering or liberating things is to say, when we have feelings of, we failed, or things we've done, stresses or things, criticize ourselves. The most liberating thing is to say, so what, and let it go. Because it's too easy to hold on and overthink and
Yeah.
make these into bigger things in the mind. But yeah, the most liberating thing is to say, so what, and try and let these things go as much as possible.
Absolutely. And my quote is, live life, don't let life live you. So, yeah. Or maybe don't sleep, don't dream your dreams, go and chase them. So, yeah, I think that's it. Thanks everyone, including Stephen, to come on. Next week, obviously, Ashley and Nick are back. We're discussing about self-care, aren't we, Ashley? Yeah, Nick. The topic has changed because the guest has cancelled. So we're discussing about what is the true meaning of self-care.
Okay, that's good.
And that's what I love about these topics; they just bounce off each other.
Yeah,
So-
that's a good topic. Be good.
Absolutely. So yeah, at the same time next week. So yeah, are you coming back, Richard?
Yeah, and actually, I just did an episode about how the caregiver needs to have self-care because you can't pour from an empty cup. So I think this would be a friggin' awesome episode.
Absolutely.
That'd be
Yes.
nice. Mhm.
So I want to thank Jilly, as usual, for coming on. You're welcome back anytime. Same with you, Alicia. Please do subscribe, share, and let's keep kicking ass.
Nice to meet you, Lisa.
Literally.
Thank you for having me. Thank
Nice to meet you guys.
You're welcome.
Hi, everyone.
I'll
Good to
connect
see
to
you.
Alicia and Richard after this.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Right.
Okay. Bye.